Okay, one last thing that I would want to point out to you. And this, in all humility, has nothing to do with me. I just have to use me as the best example that I have immediately available to myself and to you in this point. Now, I've played around with two languages here, Setswana and Portuguese. Which language do you think that I really speak?
Portuguese. Neither.
Wild guess. I probably asked a question for which there really isn't an answer, so I was just kind of wildly checking here. I've written 5 books in this language, and again, I say this without any, it has not have anything to do with me. It has to do with, I know a lot about Setswana. I don't speak this language. I've learned it. I know a lot about it. I don't speak it. Okay? I've never had a lesson in this language here, ever. And I speak it fluently. And I'm not trying to get it. It doesn't have anything to do with me. It has to do a very important distinction that I want you to make between learning and acquisition. Okay? This is the language that I learned about. Anybody here study French in high school? Latin? You learned a lot about that language, but do you speak it? Okay? That's learning a language. Learning about a language. Okay? I got French, Latin, and Russian all that way, so I know what that one does. Okay? Does anybody here speak a second language fluently? Okay? What language do you speak?
Dutch.
Dutch. Okay. Did you learn it in school?
Not just a course.
Just a course. And where did you really acquire the language?
Reading family members, speaking.
Reading family members. Okay. So it's pretty contextualized. And it was a real situation, right? I mean, it wasn't like something you were practicing. You were speaking because you needed to communicate. Yeah, okay. This is, again, classic acquisition. Now, this doesn't come out of the labs, ladies and gentlemen. It comes out of the experience of literally millions of people who learn languages every day. They don't learn them in classrooms, they don't learn them from books, and they don't learn them from teachers. Okay? It's very, very common in South Asia for people to speak 4 or 5 languages. The woman who was my language informant here was 24 years old. She was a primary school leaver. She left school in the 5th grade. She spoke 10 languages fluently. 10. And not like French, German, and Italian. It was Setswana, Sesotho, Seswati, Ndebele, Xhosa, Zulu, 2 bush languages, Afrikaans, and English. You got 4 different language families represented there. It's a primary school leaver. That's my evidence. Okay? You don't learn languages, you acquire them. You don't learn them through a rational process. When you speak Dutch, Carl, do you think about it? Okay? Again, the primary difference here is that acquisition is something you do without thinking. It is an unconscious process. When I don't think about Portuguese, my Portuguese is very clear. If I stop and think about it, it actually screws it up. I do. Once I had occasion where I've taught Portuguese and I have to stop and think about saying certain things, and it actually screws up my language. I make mistakes that I would never make just talking to friends and family in Brazil. It's not the same thing. There are occasions I have had people tell me, oh, but I learned my Spanish through grammar with my teacher. But then if I ask them enough questions, well, what did you do in class? Which language did you use? English or Spanish? Oh, we spoke in Spanish all the time. Now we have a context. The context is learning Spanish. But we have a context, and the fact that all the communication went on in Spanish, now it will work. Other than that, though, it's highly unlikely that any kind of language drilling or language exercises or building up language has anything to do with acquisition. That's this stuff over here.